social media's #1 platform for spine health education and surgery. Join with us now.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to ADR Spine Surgery Support Group. We have probably one of the two biggest thought leaders in artificial disc replacement today. We have the great Dr. Rasouli, and we have Dr. Kingsley Chin with Axiomed or KIC Ventures. Good morning to both of you. We got a lot of stuff to cover in about 10 to 15 minutes, so let's try to get this quick. Dr. Chin, tell us quickly on what's happening with Axiomed and when the release date is going to be and where you're going to be at, and kind of go from there.
Great, thank you. And it's a real honor to be here with Dr. Rasouli. As you know, Dr. Rasouli is one of the surgeons who have experience with the Axiomed disc. You actually have as patients who have done very well. So I want to thank him for the leadership there. Yeah. So in our role here at Axiomed, as you know, we somehow miraculously took over the company in 2014. And because of how miraculous it is, I really consider myself a custodian of the disc. I don't see this as a business venture. And my interest in disc replacement started way before that. And so historically, I have been interested in learning about how do you preserve the natural anatomy of the spine. And so when we saw the opportunity with Axiomed, it fit that. And so we took over the company at a time when the interest in disc replacement was very low. And that contributed to what we saw as an opportunity where many other companies felt that it wasn't. And so today, thanks to a lot of esteemed surgeons and people who are vested in disc replacement, the landscape for the insurance coverage of disc replacement is improving. At the same time, some of the other discs that are out there are getting a lot of experience worldwide, and I think that this experience is positive. So we had to finish the IDE study, and we did that in 2015. We went out and raised the money to finish the study, and so we have the data. We've been able to look through the data, and the data is very strong as to the performance of the lumbar disc. And we've decided to work on the FDA approval process. And so we started that, and we are now towards the end of that process. We're hoping by the end of this year, the FDA will have looked through all the paperwork and be ready to come to a positive decision. Everything looks promising so far. We were audited by the FDA, and we passed that. And so now it's a matter of completing the submission. The next step is to start making the disc, which we stopped making back in around 2016 or so. And we had a number of sets of cervical disc and lumbar disc, and they're sterile packed. And we chose to send some of those implants to Australia and some to Jamaica. And so we have experience in Australia, greater than 5 years, experience in Jamaica, in the cervical disc, up to 4 levels of cervical, greater than 5 years. And so we're going to look to publish those data. We published the European data on the cervical disc. 2-year follow-up. We're looking to publish the greater than 5-year follow-up. So I would say this year is important for Axiomed to finish the FDA submission process. As you may know, the process includes 3 written modules, which we already submitted thousands of papers and data. And then you have to make the disc and then show that the disc performed as well as during the IDE study. And then that should be the end of the process.
That sounds very fantastic. What do you need from people viewing this video, Dr. Chin? Do you still need some investors to kind of help you cross the finish line?
Yes, and I can't explain to you the timing of the Axiomed disc. First of all, it was a miracle that we had the opportunity to get the disc, and we came up with the capital to acquire the disc. Over the years, we have really watched the market patiently. We just didn't feel that the time was right to bring the disc to market. I think the timing now is becoming, I think it's now. And so in order to accelerate the process, it's purely about how much money we allocate to the Axiomed disc. And so raising funds towards the disc would change the trajectory. And so about $2 million at this point would accelerate the disc coming to market pretty quickly, as well as having the inventory to supply the market. So we, as you know, as an investment firm at KIC Ventures, we also have investments in less exposure spine surgery in the outpatient setting,
Right.
as well as a disc replacement. So we have had to balance how we invest our capital. We don't have institutional investors. We're an independently owned private company. The majority of our investments come from physicians who believe in our technologies. And so we've raised over $15 million in Axiomed to keep that going. So yes, raising money right now would change everything about the Axiomed story.
That's good. Let's move on to Dr. Alexander Rasouli. I know he's short for time. Dr. Rasouli, you obviously were one of the pioneers with Axiomed back when they did the trials. And I think we've got 7 patients in our group currently that have a 1-level lumbar. They're doing fantastic. And we just had somebody new pop in recently, and I shared with you, Dr. Chin. He for 1 year was struggling and he had leg pain, all these things kind of going on. And all of a sudden, everything kind of finally balanced out and he's had a fantastic life. So Dr. Rasouli, we have two things I want to talk about real quick with you. First, what did you think about Axiomed and where would you like to see it?
I think Axiomed is next generation for disc replacement. I think a viscoelastic disc replacement as opposed to a mechanical disc replacement approximates the spine much better, approximates anatomy and biomechanics much better. And you can see this in the outcomes that we have seen with lesser viscoelastic disc replacements compared to mechanical disc replacements. Patients just do better. Axiomed isn't the only viscoelastic disc out there, but it has the potential to be the best, and we look forward to its coming to market. Patients do better faster, and I think that's a mantra or a motto that typifies the viscoelastic disc replacement technology.
So that's, and I knew this, and I think a lot of the people in the group already know that. We're just trying to kind of get the Axiomed to kind of push towards the goal line a little bit quicker. Dr. Rasouli, you have something very big to announce as well, and I think a lot of members in our group are going to be very excited to hear this. And I think one of the other parts that we probably need to do is do a show and tell once you head over to Qatar. And Cedars-Sinai obviously has a partnership with a hospital in Qatar. Can you tell us a little bit briefly on what you're doing over there?
So our partnership with the View Hospital in Doha in the state of Qatar is almost 7 or 8 months old. It's independent of Cedars-Sinai. We feel that the government of Doha and Qatar have invested a great deal in the healthcare infrastructure of that country and has made that country prime for being the innovator in spine technologies. The FDA in the United States is a great organization. Its singular purpose is to protect consumers. There is slight criticism that I would level against the FDA, and that is that it has a lot of inertia and inefficiencies in the way it does things. It's a miracle that the COVID vaccines were able to come to market as quickly as they did. But with other equally important technologies, it takes a lot of time, and more importantly, it takes a lot of money, sometimes unnecessarily. I think the Europeans have a more efficient system, and therefore the Middle Eastern states, the ones that are very progressive like Qatar, model themselves after that system and can use technologies that we don't have access here much more readily and much more quickly. So we look forward to using things like the Axiomed and other technologies that may not be FDA approved here, but are amazing technologies and are approved by regulatory committees in other parts of the world. And so that's our main goal with Qatar and Doha, is to be able to tap into technologies and help our patients the world over without having to wait for those technologies to go through the FDA process here.
That's going to be very exciting for a lot of folks that are in Europe, that are in, Asia and the Middle East and even probably parts of Africa. So if someone sees this video, Dr. Rasouli, how would they say, hey, I want to come to Qatar to be fixed? What's the process? Do you want them to send everything to Beverly Hills or what do we need to do to kind of let them know and understand?
Sure. Yeah, things would come through our office in Beverly Hills, and then we would make arrangements through our liaisons that are installed in the View Hospital in Doha. It's a pretty seamless process. We go out there about 2 times a quarter. We do surgeries and we see patients and consultations. We also do remote consultations. The hospital that we're working there and whose spine program that we're helping develop is an amazing hospital in terms of infrastructure, investment. When the government has a commitment to its people to develop healthcare, they go above and beyond. And so we're seeing the results of that. And not just a government, but private investors who want to see the healthcare of that country flourish. And then the step beyond that is to not just make it a beacon for the country of Qatar, but also a beacon regionally for healthcare that is a cut above everywhere else. So we're excited about that, and we're excited to be able to coordinate the care through our offices here.
You know, that's going to be fantastic news. So how many discs on average in Qatar? And this may be a difficult question just to kind of come off the top of your head. Do you place in Qatar? How many artificial discs do you think?
Well, we started our program back in June of 2023. I think we're close to 10 now, discs, cervical and lumbar.
Okay.
And I think it's important to realize that the discs we place are first of kind in that region and throughout the Middle East. The patients who received those discs and the quantity of discs they received, no one else has in that entire region.
That's fantastic news. Well, do you guys have any questions for each other?
No, we've been watching Axiomed for a while. We're really excited. I think they are defining the future. There is going to be some time before we see the lumbar spine come to market, and that's okay. It's worth waiting for. I think that patients who need surgery now should have it now, and when Axiomed comes out, it's going to be a great option. I think the real key to success for this company is going to be their laterally inserted lumbar disc replacements, which is going to revolutionize that technology, and it's going to make disc replacement repeatable, accessible, minimally invasive. We're doing same-day disc replacements now, but it's going to be even more simple once the laterally inserted disc replacements come out. So we're really excited about that. I think it should be an honor for anyone to be able to use this technology, and we're very grateful for the likes of Dr. Kingsley for making it possible.
Thanks, Dr. Rasouli. I appreciate you saying that. And as a fellow colleague, I try to stay in that objective place as a surgeon. And it's interesting, the first day I met the employees of the company, former Axiomed, that's the question I asked. Did anyone thought about a lateral disc? And when everyone was waiting to wonder what I was going to say about part of the company, that was my question. And so we went out and filed a patent on a lateral disc, which we have. And as a lateral surgeon myself, the ability to put this disc in atraumatically in a lateral position as a single solution, I agree with you on that. And as I said offline, I don't control time and how things happen. And so I know it could be frustrating, especially for the Australian, that they try this disc and they don't have it. Must be frustrating sometimes for you, who you were a pioneer using this disc before I even knew about the disc. You have patients who have done well. You're now in a new country. Why don't you have this cervical and lumbar and lateral disc in Qatar? Then people will be flying from all over the world to get it there. So, I must apologize, if I may, to all the patients who have gotten better from your surgery and using this disc. My patients have done, my first patient in Jamaica was a medical doctor, and she had a 4-level disease that normally I would have done a front and back fusion on. And she has 4 Axiomed cervical discs. And I think she's going this week to get her 6-year follow-up x-ray on that. So we know disc replacement works, all types. Mechanical, as you mentioned, versus viscoelastic. But we know viscoelastic disc is closer to the normal disc. So yes, I would love if you have investors in Qatar as you're building out this center of excellence for disc replacement. Would be excited to partner with you and provide you full support of the disc. So it's all yours, Dr. Rasouli, if you want it. If you want to join us in getting it out to the market.
We'd be happy to.
I knew this would be good. Hey, if you're watching this and you want to go to Qatar and you want to see a show and tell once Dr. Rasouli gets over there, put it in the comments that, hey, I'd like to see that. I just want to see how much interest there is from the group after they watch this. And I'm sure we'll get a lot of people that obviously see the video on YouTube will come to the group and even learn a lot more. And I really appreciate it. I know, Dr. Rasouli, I appreciate both of your time today. This was difficult to kind of get going, but it's been so worthwhile, and it's huge. And I'm telling you, this is going to be huge. People have been waiting for this for a long time. And like I said, I think Qatar is going to take it to a whole different realm for us. Thanks again.
Here's what a disc looks like.
It's kind of hard to see. You got to back up a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, this
there
is
you go.
what Dr. Rasouli is talking about. There's no mechanical disc here. It looks just like the human disc.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Art.
You guys have a great week. Thank you again so much.
Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Dr. Rasouli. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.